In Obiara, people feared two things more than hunger: the anger of the ancestors and the secrets buried beneath the earth. Because the elders said the ground was not just soil. It was a lid covering a place that should never be opened. Zara grew up hearing those warnings the way children hear thunder, loud, frightening, but distant. The kind of fear that fades when morning comes. But on the night the underworld called her name, fear moved from story to skin. Welcome to the Promiscuous Stories channel, where stories walk, spirits speak, and legends live again. If you love powerful tales full of mystery, magic, and meaning, you're in the right place. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and drop your thoughts in the comment section below. And hey, tap the notification bell so you never miss a new story when it drops. Now sit back and listen closely. It began with a normal evening. The sun melted into orange behind palm trees. Smoke rose from cooking fires. Women in bright wrappers walked home from the river, clay pots balanced on their heads, their feet stained red by Obiara's earth. Men sat beneath the nukwa tree, cracking coconut, sipping palm wine, and arguing about farmland boundaries the way old men do, loudly, proudly, endlessly. Children chased each other, laughing, their bodies glowing in the last light. Zara moved through this life like someone carrying a secret weight. Her wrapper was deep indigo, tied neatly at her waist. Coral beads rested against her collarbone, and her hair, long cornrows, was pulled back with a simple thread. She looked like any young woman in Obiara. But inside her, grief lived. 2 years ago, her mother, Neka, died suddenly. No long sickness. No warning. 1 week she was strong and singing while pounding yam. The next she was silent in a mat-wrapped body, surrounded by wailing women. And Zara never truly understood why. Because even on the burial day, her mother's eyes looked unsettled, like she saw something beyond the living. And on the night before she died, Neka held Zara's wrist tightly and whispered words that didn't match a dying woman's voice. "Never follow a voice that comes from the ground," she said. "Never answer it. Never." Zara tried to forget it. But forgetting is easy only until life tests you. That evening, Kelechi ran toward her, breathless, eyes shining like a boy holding fire in his hands. "Zara," he whispered, glancing around as if the air itself might report him. "I found something." Zara didn't smile. Her spirit always became cautious when Kelechi became excited. Kelechi was her childhood friend, her brother in everything but blood. He was bright, charming, reckless, and curious in a way that sometimes looked like foolishness. "If it's another frog you want to scare me with, I will break your head," Zara said. Kelechi laughed quickly. "Not a frog. Something bigger." Zara's grip tightened around the woven basket in her arms. "What did you do?" "Nothing yet," he said, lowering his voice. "But I found where the elders hide the forbidden shrine." Zara froze. "Which shrine?" she asked, even though she already knew. Kelechi's eyes widened. "The one they say belongs to the Underworld." The word landed like a drumbeat in Zara's chest. Obiara had many shrines. Shrines for the river goddess, for fertility, for harvest, for protection. But there was one shrine people didn't point at. They didn't discuss it openly. They didn't even mention it unless they were whispering. The forbidden shrine in the sacred forest. The elders said it was sealed long ago after a war between spirits and humans. The gate beneath that shrine was not a doorway like a hut door. It was a spiritual mouth. And the underworld behind it was not just a place of the dead. It was a kingdom. And it had a king. Zara forced a laugh to cover her fear. "You've been drinking palm wine with those boys again." "I'm serious," Kelechi insisted. "I saw carvings. I saw stones. I saw symbols that looked like they were still moving. Zara, there is something there. Something valuable." Zara's stomach tightened. "Promise me you won't go there." Kelechi rolled his eyes. "Zara, you worry too much." "Kelechi," she said, stepping closer. "Promise me." He hesitated. That hesitation was louder than any lie. "I'll think about it," he said. Zara grabbed his wrist. "Don't think. Promise." Kelechi gently pulled away. "I'm not a child." Then he turned and disappeared into the crowd, leaving Zara standing alone with a basket of cassava and a heart full of dread. That night, the moon was thin like a blade. The wind moved strangely, like breathing, not like air. Zara sat outside her hut, grinding pepper with a stone, when she heard it. A sound. Not from the sky. Not from the bush. Not from nearby huts. From the ground. A low whisper, like the earth was murmuring under its own weight. Zara stopped grinding. Her fingers went cold. The whisper became clearer. Zara. Her skin prickled. She stood slowly. And then, a scream tore through the night. Kelechi. Zara ran without thinking. Barefoot. Wrapper flapping. Heart pounding like a drum. Torches lit up as villagers rushed out. Dogs barked madly. Children cried. A goat broke loose and ran. Zara reached the village square and stopped so suddenly she almost fell. Kelechi lay on the ground. His body was stiff like dry wood. His skin looked too pale. His eyes were open, wide, staring at nothing. A group of boys stood nearby shaking, one of them holding something wrapped in cloth. Zara pushed through the crowd. What happened? The boy's lips trembled. He took it. He took it from the shrine. He said we would be rich. Zara's breath caught in her throat. The cloth was unwrapped slowly. Inside was a carved mask. Not an ordinary masquerade mask. This one looked older than memory. Black wood, cowrie shells embedded in the eyes, red earth pigment smeared around the mouth. Symbols etched into the forehead, spirals and lines that seemed to shift when you stared too long. The moment Zara saw it, her head spun. The whisper returned, louder. Bring it back. Her knees weakened. Kelechi's body jerked suddenly. People screamed and backed away. Zara dropped to her knees beside him. Kelechi. Kelechi. His lips moved. A sound came out, but it wasn't his voice. It was deeper, older, like a cave speaking. The gate is open. Then Kelechi's body went still again. Silence fell, heavy and wrong. That was when Elder Dibia Okari arrived. He didn't run like the others. He walked, calm and slow, holding a carved staff wrapped in white cloth and cowries. Around his neck hung beads, coral, bone, seeds, layers of spiritual authority. His eyes were sharp, as if he had been waiting for this. He stepped into the circle and looked at Kelechi. Then he looked at the mask. Real fear crossed his face. Who touched it? He demanded. The boys broke into sobs. Zara's voice shook. Can you save him? Elder Okari knelt beside Kelechi, placed 2 fingers on his forehead, and whispered words Zara didn't recognize. Then he pulled his hand back, as if burned. He is not here, Elder Okari said. Zara's throat tightened. What do you mean? He is alive, the elder said, but his spirit has been dragged down. Zara whispered. Dragged down where? Elder Okari's eyes lifted slowly to her. To the underworld. A wave of fear swept through the crowd. Some women began to wail. Men tightened their grip on cutlasses, as if steel could fight spirits. Zara shook her head. No, that's impossible. Elder Okari stood and pointed his staff at the mask. This is the seal breaker. It should never have been removed. Then put it back. Zara cried. Elder Okari's voice lowered. It is not that simple. Once the seal is broken, the gate begins to breathe again. It calls. It pulls. Zara swallowed. So, what do we do? Elder Okari looked toward the forest. The underworld has started a bargain, he said. And it will not stop until it is paid. Zara's heartbeat turned painful. Paid with what? Elder Okari looked back at her, heavy with truth. With blood. The crowd murmured, afraid. Elder Okari stepped closer to Zara and lowered his voice, so only she could hear. And the blood it wants is yours. Zara's knees nearly collapsed. Mine, she whispered. Why? Elder Okari's jaw tightened. Because you are the last of the bloodline that sealed that gate. That's not true, Zara breathed. My mother was just. Your mother was not ordinary, he said. She carried the mark. She hid it. Zara's eyes filled. Protected me from what? Elder Okari's answer struck like lightning. From your father. Zara's breath stopped. My father is dead. Elder Okari's face hardened.
No.
Your father is not dead. Zara's voice became small. Then where is he? Elder Okari didn't blink. He is in the underworld. That night, Zara did not sleep. She sat inside her hut, listening to the wind scrape the roof, watching the flame dance on the mud wall. Kalechi's body was taken to Elder Okari's shrine and surrounded by chalk markings, white lines and symbols drawn with ritual precision. Burning herbs filled the air. The village tried to pray, tried to sleep, but Zara felt it. The air was changing. Night became heavier, like it had weight. And, beneath the ground, something waited. At midnight, Zara heard scratching at her door. She grabbed a wooden pestle and stood, breath shallow. Who is there? No answer. The scratching continued. Zara forced courage into her voice. Who is there? Then she heard it. A whisper. Right outside the door. Zara. Her blood turned cold. She flung the door open. No one. But at her doorstep sat a small clay pot, one she recognized instantly. Her mother's pot. The same pot Neka used to store sacred herbs. Zara's hands shook as she lifted it. Inside was a folded cloth and a Kaura bracelet. She unfolded the cloth. A symbol was drawn in red pigment, spiral around a line. And beneath it, in her mother's handwriting, were words that made Zara's breath fail. If the mask returns, the gate is awake. Do not trust the elders fully. Okari knows the path. Your father is not your enemy. But the king beneath will try to wear his face. Zara sank to the floor. The king beneath. Ekwensu. That name was spoken only in fear. Morning arrived with ash-colored clouds. The village gathered at Elder Okari's shrine. Women wore dark wrappers, had scarves tied tightly. Men carried charms on their wrists. Elder Okari stood before them with a calabash of sacred water and an ofo staff laid across the shrine altar. The underworld has tasted our soil, he announced. If we do nothing, it will drink our people. As if the spirits heard him and wanted to prove him right, the first attack came before afternoon. It started with a child screaming. A small girl ran through the village, eyes wide, pointing at the road. Something is following me, she cried. Her mother ran after her, shouting. Stop! Stop! Zara stepped outside just in time to see it. A shadow. Not a person's shadow. Not a tree's shadow. A moving darkness, crawling across the ground like spilled ink. It slid toward the child's feet, rising like smoke. The child screamed again, then froze. Her eyes rolled back. Her body went limp. The shadow lifted from her like a snake and drifted away. The girl's mother fell to the ground, wailing. Elder Okari rushed forward, splashing sacred water, chanting. The girl coughed and gasped like she had been drowning. And Zara felt something shift in her spirit. The underworld was not waiting politely anymore. It was feeding. That evening, Elder Okari called Zara to the shrine alone. Inside, the shrine smelled of bitter herbs, camwood, and smoke. Cowries hung from the ceiling. A carved wooden mask sat on a shelf beside a calabash. A clay pot of white chalk powder rested near a small iron bell. Elder Okari stared at Zara for a long time. You are afraid, he said. Zara's eyes stung. Yes. He nodded like that was acceptable. Good. Fear keeps you alive. But courage decides what you do with fear. Zara swallowed. If I go down, will I come back? Elder Okari didn't lie. I do not know. Zara's voice cracked. Then why should I go? Elder Okari's eyes became sharp. Because if you do not, the village will die. One by one. Kalechi is only the beginning. Zara clenched her fists. Teach me what to do. Elder Okari motioned her closer. Then listen carefully. The underworld is not only darkness. It is deception. The spirits will test you. They will wear faces you love. They will offer you what you want. Zara remembered her mother's note. The king beneath will try to wear his face. Elder Okari continued. Before you step into that realm, you must be prepared spiritually. not with strength of muscle, strength of mind. For the next 3 days, Zara trained. At dawn, Elder Okari took her to the river. They stood by the water where women normally washed clothes. But this morning the river felt different, quiet, sacred. Elder Okari poured libation, palm wine and water, into the river. He made Zara kneel. "Speak the names of those who came before you," he commanded. Zara's voice trembled. "Neka, my mother." "Again," he said.
"Speak."
"Let your ancestors hear you." Zara inhaled.
"Neka."
"I am your daughter. I am here. If you can hear me, guide me." The river wind brushed her skin like fingers. At noon, Elder Okari taught her protective chants, how to draw chalk symbols on the ground, how to carry an object with ancestral energy. He gave her a small carved pendant wrapped in leather. "This is not magic," he warned. "It is memory. Your ancestors speak through memory." At night, he tested her. He made her sit alone in the shrine while he extinguished the lamp. In darkness, he beat the iron bell softly. The sound echoed like a heartbeat. Then whispers began. Not from outside. From within the shrine walls. "Zara, come. Your mother is calling. Your father is waiting." Zara's body shook. Her hands clenched her mother's cowrie bracelet. Elder Okari's voice came from somewhere in the dark. "Do not answer. Do not follow. Listen, but do not obey." Zara swallowed her fear and stayed still. By the third night, the whispers became louder, crueler. "You will fail. You will die. You are not strong. Give us your blood." Zara's tears fell silently. But she did not answer. At dawn of the fourth day, Elder Okari said, "Now you are ready, not because you are fearless, but because you have learned not to be ruled." The village gathered as if for a burial. Because everyone knew this journey was a burial of certainty. Elder Okari painted Zara's arms with white chalk and red camwood. He tied leather charms around her waist. He placed a small calabash gourd in her hand. Inside it was dark liquid. "A bridge," he said. "It will allow your spirit to walk while your body still breathes." Zara's throat tightened. "Will it hurt?" Elder Okari's eyes didn't soften. "Yes." Zara drank. It burned like pepper and smoke. Her vision blurred. She heard the earth breathe. Elder Okari led her into the sacred forest. Trees twisted upward. Vines hung like ropes. The air smelled of wet soil and old secrets. Birds were silent. They reached the clearing. Ancient stones in a ring, each stone carved with symbols. At the center lay the mound. Elder Okari placed the seal-breaker mask upon the stone slab. Then he began to chant. Low, deep, rhythmic. The ground vibrated. The mound cracked. Cold air rushed out like a mouth exhaling. The crack widened into a stairway, descending into darkness. Villagers screamed and backed away. Zara stood still, staring. Elder Okari grabbed her shoulder. Remember, spirits will lie. Faces will change. Do not trade your blood. Do not bargain with the Quensu. Seek the heart of the underworld. Seal it from inside. Zara's voice shook. And Kalechi? Elder Okari nodded. If you seal it, he returns. If you fail, he is gone. Zara clutched her mother's bracelet. Then she stepped down. One step. Another. Another. The light above shrank into a small circle. And as Zara descended, the whisper turned into laughter. Welcome home, a voice said. Her foot touched cold stone. She blinked, and the stairway vanished. Zara stood in a world that was not Earth. The sky was deep red, swirling like smoke. The ground was black stone, cracked like dried riverbeds. In the distance rose enormous ruins, pillars and broken temples covered in glowing symbols. A river flowed nearby, shimmering like molten silver. Faces moved beneath its surface, whispering and moaning. Zara's stomach churned. She turned and saw a crowd. Spirits. Some looked human, wearing old wrappers, beads, hairstyles from ancient times. Others were shadows with glowing eyes. Some had animal skull heads. Some crawled. They watched her in silence. Then a spirit stepped forward. A woman.
Tall.
Beautiful. Wearing a wrapper made of woven light. Her face looked like Neka. Zara's heart broke instantly. Mother, she whispered. The woman opened her arms. My daughter. Zara moved forward, without thinking. But as she got close, her mother's smile stretched too wide. Her eyes turned black. And the voice that came out was not Neka's. Give me your blood. Zara staggered backward. The spirit laughed and melted into smoke. The crowd hissed. Zara's hands trembled, but she remembered. Faces will change. She clutched the bracelet. I refuse, she whispered. The spirit screamed in anger. The ground trembled. Then the air split. A figure emerged from the ruins, tall and heavy with darkness. Red eyes, burning like coal. A bone necklace. Black spiritual armor covered in moving symbols. Ekwensu. He walked slowly, each step making the air vibrate. So, he said, voice like thunder inside a cave. The blood key finally arrives.
Zara forced herself to speak.
Where is Kalechi? Ekwensu smiled. Your friend is safe for now. He is collateral. Bring him back, Zara demanded, though fear shook her bones. Ekwensu leaned closer. I will, but you must pay. Zara swallowed. Pay with what? His smile widened. Your blood. Zara's tears rose.
No.
Ekwensu laughed softly. Then you will watch your village die. One by one. Until you beg. Zara shook with rage and grief. I came to seal the gate. Ekwensu's laughter
stopped.
Chosen you, he said quietly. Your mother tried. Your father tried. They failed. Zara's breath caught. My father is here. Ekwensu's eyes gleamed. Oh yes. Onika. The one who once served us. Zara stepped forward. Take me to him. Ekwensu snapped his fingers. The ground opened beside them, forming a bridge of black stone over the silver river. Walk, he commanded. See the secret you crave. Zara stepped onto the bridge. From below, the river whispered. Stay. Give up. Blood key. Join us. Zara kept walking. At the end of the bridge stood a tall stone cage. Inside was a man with tired eyes and spiritual markings. He wore torn warrior cloth and a broken coral necklace. He looked up, and Zara's soul recognized him before her mind did. Zara, he whispered. Her knees weakened. You know my name? My daughter, he said, voice cracking. You should not be here. Zara's eyes filled. Father? Ekwensu's laughter echoed behind her. Onika grabbed the bars. Zara, listen to me. Do not bargain with him. He wants to wear your blood like skin. Zara's voice shook. Why are you here? Why did you leave us? Onika's face twisted in pain. I didn't leave, he whispered. I was taken. Your mother and I, we were guardians. Our bloodlines sealed the gate long ago. But Ekwensu has been trying to break free for generations. Zara's lips trembled. Then how do we end it? Onika nodded toward her bracelet. That bracelet contains the final seal mark. Your mother hid it. But to use it, you must reach the heart of the underworld. Ekwensu's voice cut in. Enough. He lifted a hand, and shadow chains wrapped around Onika, yanking him back. Onika groaned. Zara screamed. Stop. Ekwensu turned to her, eyes burning. Give me your blood willingly, and I will release them all. Zara's mind raced. If she refused, the village dies. If she agrees, Ekwensu enters the world. Before she could speak, the world tilted. Ekwensu snapped his fingers again, and Zara fell, not through air, but through darkness. She landed hard on cold stone. She was in a hall of massive pillars shaped like twisted trees. Blue flames burned in torches. Walls were carved with ancient wars between humans and spirits. At the center stood a throne made of bone. Ekwensu sat upon it. But now, he wore a face. Onika's face. He smiled gently, like a loving father. My daughter, he said in Onika's voice. Why are you fighting me? I only want to see. Home. Zara's heart squeezed in pain. The temptation was a knife. She took a step forward. But then she remembered her mother's warning. The king beneath will try to wear his face. Zara backed away, tears falling. You are not him. The illusion flickered, then dropped. Red eyes returned. So you are smarter than your mother, he hissed. Ekwensu rose from the throne. This is the secret, he said, walking toward her. The underworld is not only a place. It is hunger. It is a crown. And you are the final door. Shadows rose around Zara like hands, wrapping her wrists and ankles. She struggled. Ekwensu leaned in, voice like poison. Give me your blood willingly, he murmured, and your village will live. Zara's tears spilled. Then she whispered, Ancestors, if you are with me, now is the time. The bracelet began to glow. Ekwensu's eyes widened. No. White light exploded from her wrist, throwing the shadows back. The hall shook. A voice echoed, deep, powerful, not Ekwensu's. Daughter of the seal, you have come. From the carvings on the walls, ancient guardians stepped out like waking memories. They wore leopard skin cloaks, coral beads, chalk markings. Some carried staffs. Some carried swords made of light. The ancestors. They formed a protective circle around Zara. A tall woman with a crown of cowries stepped forward, eyes fierce.
We waited, she said.
Now you must finish what your mother began. Zara's voice shook.
How?
The guardian pointed toward a black stone door at the end of the hall, covered in the spiral symbol. The heart of the underworld, she said. Behind that door is the seal core.
Place the bracelet on it.
Speak your true name. Zara swallowed. What will it cost? The guardian's gaze softened. Balance demands a life tied to this realm, she whispered. Zara's breath caught. My father! The guardian didn't deny it. Ekwensu screamed in rage and attacked the guardians with darkness. Light clashed with shadow, shaking the hall. The ancestors pushed Zara forward.
Go, they commanded.
Before he breaks free.
Zara ran.
As she ran, the underworld tested her again. The floor became a village path. The air smelled like her home. She heard laughter. She turned and saw Neka again, alive, cooking by the fire. Kalechi sitting nearby, smiling. Children playing. It was everything Zara wanted. Neka looked up. Come home, my daughter. Zara's steps slowed. Then she saw something wrong. The cooking pot was filled not with soup, but with silver river water, faces floating beneath it. The children's laughter was too sharp. Kalechi's eyes were black. Zara screamed and ran forward, breaking through the illusion like tearing cloth. She reached the black stone door and pushed it open. Inside was a chamber unlike anything else. At the center floated a stone altar surrounded by glowing spiral symbols. Above it hovered a dark orb beating like a heart. The seal core. Zara approached slowly, every step heavy with fate. Behind her, footsteps echoed. She turned. Onika stood there, free. My daughter, he cried, running toward her. You did it. You broke my chains. Zara's heart surged. Father. He reached for her hands. Zara almost fell into his embrace. Then she noticed a shadow. It moved wrong. It twisted upward like smoke. Zara stepped back, shaking her head. No. Onika's smile faltered. Zara, it's me. Zara's voice broke. Say something only my father would know. The face froze. Then a low laugh rolled out. His skin cracked like clay. Darkness spilled out. Ekwensu. Clever girl, he hissed, lunging. Zara turned and slammed her bracelet onto the seal core. Instantly, the chamber erupted with light. Ekwensu screamed, thrown backward by invisible force. Zara shouted, voice shaking the air. I am Zara, daughter of Neka, blood of the seal. The symbols blazed. The orb cracked. The underworld howled. Ekwensu roared in panic.
No.
I will not be caged again. A powerful pull grabbed Zara like a giant hand, trying to drag her into the cracking core. Zara screamed, feet sliding on stone. Ancestors. A hand grabbed hers. Zara looked and saw Onika. The real Onika. Chains on his wrists. Tears on his face. Zara, he whispered. You must let me go. Zara sobbed.
No.
I just found you. Onika smiled sadly. I stayed so you could live, he whispered. Now let me finish it. Zara shook her head violently. There must be another way. Onika pressed his forehead to hers. There is no other way, he said. Tell your mother. I kept my promise. The pull intensified. The seal core split wider, light pouring out. Ekwensa shrieked, clinging to the edges like a beast refusing a cage. Onika tightened his grip. Go, he shouted. Zara cried. Father. Onika pushed her back with all his strength. Zara flew backward, through the hall, through darkness, and slammed into her body above ground. Zara gasped awake in the forest clearing, coughing and crying. Villagers screamed her name. Elder Okari held her shoulders. Zara.
Zara.
Zara's eyes searched wildly. Kelechi. Where is Kelechi? At the shrine, Kelechi's body jerked. He inhaled sharply like someone returning from deep water. His eyes blinked. Then he began to cry like a child. Zara sobbed with relief. Behind them, the ground shook. The underworld stairway began to close. The cracks sealed slowly, like a wound healing. A final roar echoed from beneath. I will return. Then silence. Real silence. The air became lighter. The forest breathed normally again. Zara sat trembling, tears streaming, her wrist still glowing faintly where the bracelet had burned into her skin like a mark. Elder Okari knelt beside her. Did you seal it?
Zara nodded weakly.
Elder Okari swallowed. And your father? Zara stared at the ground, shaking. He stayed, she whispered. He saved us. The village mourned quietly, not with loud cries, but with the kind of grief that sits in the chest and refuses to leave. They poured libation at dawn. They broke colonnade. They sang ancestral songs. They swept the shrine path clean and laid palm fronds as peace signs. Kelechi recovered slowly, haunted by nightmares. Some nights he woke screaming, shouting that hands were pulling him down. Zara became different. She no longer feared darkness, because she knew what lived in it. She became the new guardian of the seal. And whenever children laughed at old stories, Zara would look at the ground and remember the whisper that started everything. Because the secret of the underworld was not only spirits. It was choice. Evil doesn't always break into a world with force. Sometimes it waits until curiosity opens the wrong door, until someone touches what should remain buried, until warnings become jokes, and somewhere beneath Obiara, behind a gate sealed with blood and sacrifice, Ekwensu waited, hungry, smiling, because he had learned one thing. The gate was sealed, but the bloodlines still lived. And as long as Zara breathed, the underworld would never stop watching.
Ing.